Hello, Steve Ansell again here. Right, today I'm going to show you how to get the best out of one of these 1.5 volt batteries. Right, so say if you're in an area where you're not connected up, like not everyone lives in a household where you've got electricity pumped right into your house. So what you can have pretty cheap lighting with LEDs, but the problem with LEDs, they require more about 3 to 5 volts to get any decent light out. So I'm going to show you here just to prove why this circuit is necessary for this. Like I'm not going to go into how to connect an LED up. Like it's easy enough to Google, but all I'm going to tell you, right, if you look close up to an LED, you've got inside of there, you've got a small part and a big part. The small part connects to your positives, bigger part is your negative side of the, so it's small anode, large cathode, or if it's a new LED like this one is sort of, it's leads have not been cropped, so the longer lead will signify your positive lead. But I'm going to show you just to prove why this circuit is a good thing to know. So like you would get your if I can get that in the bloody hole, yeah, so you poke that in the jam roll straight in there, get yourself a couple of wires, poke blue, red in this case, red being the positive lead. And what I've done, I've stuck a couple of neodymium magnets on the end of this battery to make it easier to connect up. Now what you do, you get your positive lead, snap it on the positive side of the battery, negative lead onto that battery, and as you can see, there is absolutely diddly squat light coming out of that LED. That's, and I mean, I know it looks like there is, but that's because my flash on the camera is back feeding. I mean, I'm now pulsing this on and off the negative lead, and you're not seeing any change in that LED. It's because this battery, it could be any 1.5 volt battery. This is a AAA, but you can use AA, C-sized, D cell. Like you can use 2 in series, and you'll get more light out of it. You don't want to go too mad though, unless like you want to put a resistor in line with this LED, because like these LEDs are pretty easy to blow. But as you see, there's no light whatsoever coming out of that. So I'm going to show you here how I build a Joule Thief circuit. I mean, last time I built one and I put it online, the first time round I made this coil. I've got 2 of these actually, and they're toroidal and they're bifilar. And what you do, you get some of this magnet style wire, which is a copper wire with enamel around it, and you obviously burn it off or shave it off to get to the copper to be able to solder this stuff on. But what you do, you take 2 lengths off of it. Like so you start off one length with like about the length of your forearm from the tip of your finger down to your elbow, and then what you do, you pull out another amount that same length, you cut that off in one long length, so you've got 2 arms lengths, well 2 forearm lengths, you fold them in half, and then what you do, you wind it around and round your toroids until you can get as many turns on as you want, and then you cut the bit off where it's joined. Once you've got through so far, so you've end up with like 4 pieces of wire poking out. And then what you do, from one side the coil, you choose a wire, and then from the other side the coil, you choose the wire that's not connected to that electrically. So you get your test meter out and you test for continuity. So like from like your left side your coil, like using one of these which has got a beeper on it, like you'd set it to there and it'll beep. So like, yeah, you'd test for continuity, and you take like I said, from one end of one coil, from one like you take one, and then the other coil one you take from the other end, and then you twist them ones together, solder them together, and then you'd end up with that being your centre tap on here, and then the outer two would be single wires. That would create your bifilar coil. But I'm not using this coil today. What I'm using instead, I actually built one of these. It's a Tesla style. Nikola Tesla invented this yonks ago. This one's just made out of what's essentially a piece of speaker wire. But actually, I got this off of a really old type. I think it might have been a mobile phone type charger or something like that. But it was in a load of crap that I had laying about. And I'm going to leave a link to a video that I used to build this. In the other video, he builds a really, really big coil. But I'm just started off with a small one. It was a piece of wire I had laying about, so I used it. And what you do, you just pull it on its side, so you end up with a top and bottom coil. There are other ways of winding them. You can actually lay the wire flat, so that you've got them both completely flat down. It'll probably do the same effect. You'd end up with a bigger circumference coil as well, and you'd end up with a flatter magnetic field. But this works fine for this, what I'm doing here. So what I've done here, I've wound it counterclockwise from the centre going outwards. Once you've wound that, you glue it all together. I've used just some of that cheap 151 super glue on this, what you get from a supermarket. And what you do, you get the wire from this side of the coil that's on this middle one, so middle top. You then take it over and you connect it to the bottom one. Like, so you bring this bottom one out up to here, and what you do, you twist the pair together. I'm going to call this a centre tap, but it's actually on the left hand side of my block. It's just because it laid better that way. If I turn it over, it goes all messy. So like, believe me, this one's the centre tap, as they call it electrically, the centre tap. So you've got two together, and then you've got your two remaining ones like plugged in here. So like, you've got the remaining ones of each coil. So like, 'cause this is two coils in one, this thing. But as I say, I'm going to leave a link in the description that'll take you to a video of how he explains how to make one of these the easy way. Apart from, I think he uses hot snot glue, if I remember, where I've used super glue, or I might be wrong. I know I watched one where someone used that hot glue gun. But anyway, what you're going to do, you're going to get yourself a coil, either one of these or one of those little toroid ones that I've shown you. And what you do, you get your you gather an LED together with your coil, and then you get yourself a 1 kilo ohm resistor. I'll put that there for a minute, and get yourself an NPN transistor. This particular, you can use a 2N 2222. I've got a B. I've got some of them laying about, but I can't bother to dig them out. But this one here, this is a 2N 3415 3415, and the way this one's made, from left to right, you have to excuse me because I'm using one hand here because I'm holding the camera. Yeah, what you do, you just poke that in your board. Right, if you don't know how a transistor works, learn how transistors work before trying to understand this. But technically, think of it as a faucet for electricity, like a tap. Like your tap, you'd have water going in from your, like, which in this case it'd be the centre lead collector. Your emitter would be your drain, the end of the tap, in other words, and your left lead would be the control, the thing you turn. So that's all it does. It just controls current going through the transistor. bit like a volume control really. It just uses a smaller current to this side, which controls a bigger current between the other two leads. But look up how they work, because there's different types of transistor. This is the easiest one to use for hobbyist projects. But yeah, what I'm going to do here now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the positive lead of this LED to the center lead collector of that transistor. Negative lead of the LED goes to the emitter. So when this circuit's working, you get your output voltage across the collector and the emitter. So the collector becomes the positive side, emitter becomes your negative side. It's because it's a blocking oscillator. What it's going to do, it's going to oscillate once this coil's in place. And what happens, it chops the current on and off as it goes through the coil, which causes a magnetic field to rise and collapse. And every time it collapses that quick, it causes a higher voltage, which will then add to the battery voltage, which will then give more of a punch. It's a boost converter. They call it a Joule Thief or a vampire circuit, but it's actually a boost converter. And what it will do, when you use these 1.5 volt batteries, you throw batteries away when you get down to about 1.1 volt. This circuit will run and run and run and run. I mean, I ran 8 LEDs for 13 hours on one of my circuits using that other little tiny coil, and it was pretty bright for the first, I think, about 8 to 10 hours, if I remember. And it was still significant light, just enough to be able to see yourself in your darkened room, like to sort of navigate about as well, like, even though it got dimmer and dimmer over time. But it lasted a lot longer and was actually lighting up on one battery, all 8 LEDs. And then, like, not long after that, I built this one. It's all the self-contained unit. Exactly the same circuits what I'm able to build here. But this one I run on 1.5 volt, but if you put 3 volt into this, it oversaturates and then the LED don't light. So this one only works on one battery, but that's because what I've done, that wire is actually iron wire, it's not copper. I've got that out of an old phone extension cord. That wire will actually stick to a magnet, and I think that's what's making it a lot harder to sustain. But I've kept this one in one piece. I've made another video on this. It's on my channel, like my last video I've done. But yeah, this thing I run for pretty much quite a long while as well. I mean, like, if you've got like a little button cell or something, and like you got like a bit of crap around you, suddenly got a power cut, or like your electricity key or whatever you're using on your budget meter. I mean, I don't have budget meters myself. I go quarterly because I can't be bothered with all that sort of thing. But if you're on a budget meter, you could have one of these laying about, and you could just like stick any old battery on it that you might have laying around in your drawer, and it will run this like a little torch. I mean, I've actually got a little torch that I bought from a supermarket a few years back, which had a brand new set of batteries in it, and it didn't last me 5 flipping minutes, and it had 3 batteries in it. When I can be bothered to find out what I've done with it, because I threw it in one of my junk boxes somewhere, I'm going to take that apart, and I'm actually going to put one of these circuits inside it so that I can light up the LED strip in there pretty more efficiently. But yeah, this thing, like, is pretty useful little circuit for what it is, like, made out of a bunch of crap that I just had laying about. I mean, the LED and the transistor and the resistor are all new, and so was the connector, what I cut off of one of them strip things that you get for those little Arduino boards. But the wire was salvaged, and the cord that it's wrapped around was one of many cords that I bought off of eBay. Can't remember if I paid £1 or £2, I can't remember, but they've all got like a little wire winding around them, like 2 layers of wire, by far the wire, technically speaker cable again. And these were sold as RF chokes. These are about 10mm in diameter, So what I do, I cut the wiring off of them so I can just use the cores for my, like I repurpose the cores for my own use. But that's a good supply of cores on eBay, like at a low price. But yeah, I recommend going on there and looking them sort of things up if you want to get into this kind of like hobby, like mucking around with oscillating electronics and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get onto the circuit now. So what you're going to do, you're going to get your transistor, your LED, you're going to connect across positive to collector, negative to emitter. You're going to get your resistor and plug it into the base, the leftmost lead on this transistor. It's going to be a bit hard getting this in the board because I'm using one hand here, but yeah, that's connected into that. Yeah, so you got that in there for your, that's to limit the current going to the base of your transistor. I mean, it will work without a resistor, but it don't give you any more light if you take that resistor out, and it will probably make your transistor not last as long as what it should do. So yeah, that just limits some of the current going to your transistor base lead. So that's technically that's the circuit built minus the coil. And then what you're going to do, you're going to get your coil, and it don't matter what way around these two yellow leads go, but I'm going to put the first one onto this resistor. Like I said, you can put it the other side straight to the transistor, but I mean, I have done, and it didn't seem no different. But I know that it does put stress on the transistor if you do that, because you've got some quite high spikes of voltage coming out of these coils when you're running them. I mean, like in inductors, if you learn about how inductors work, you'll learn pretty quick that the spikes of voltage coming out can wreck a transistor, which is why on little relays and things you put a diode in reverse across the winding, so that if the transistor turns off to turn the relay off, when you get the spike of voltage across the coil of that relay, it then gets passed all the way through the diode back to the other side of the coil on the relay, and then it shorts it out in its path so that it don't damage the components. But yeah, I've got this first lead here, and then what I've done is I'm going to get this other yellow lead and plug it into the other side of that transistor. So you get hold of that lead there, and you go for the center lead of the transistor. So you poke it in there. So now you've got it connected like this. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but the leftmost is connected to your resistor. The middle one, so your base goes to resistor, your middle one, your collector, goes to the other lead, which both go to that coil. And then what you do, you get yourself on, you get your centre tap, the two are connected together on the coil. You put that in a separate part of the board, so you're not shorting out anything. And like, because these, I don't know if you know how these proto boards work, but you've got 6 in line, they connect this way round. So you've got little bars of 6, and then it jumps. So like, there's no connection across between that and that. So like, that's why I put the resistor here and here, so I can use the same side. You could, if you wanted to, use just one bit and just put the component of the crossways, because they don't connect in this way, because they're all separate going down ways. Like, so the gaps are this way. But I'm doing it like this just to clarify it. But you can connect this up any way you want. It wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. But that is now, that circuit is ready, apart from I need to give it some power. So now what you would do, because originally that LED would not light up on 1.5 volt battery, so you get yourself another lead, plug it in so it's connected to the blue lead centre tap of your coil. That's going to become your positive side. Then get yourself another lead. I've chose a blue one in this case because I couldn't find a black one, but well, not one that long anyway. But that, excuse the innuendo, but that come out a bit wrong. But yeah, you poke that in now. That weren't intended, by the way. It was just how it come out my gob. But yeah, that's now, that blue lead's now connected to the emitter plus the negative side of the LED. And as I said, I've put a couple of little neodymium magnets on the end of this, so that I can just do this to connect it up. So I'm going to connect that up to there. And I'm going to do the same with this blue lead. And as soon as I do that, the LEDs lit up, and that's on just one of these, right? And that's pretty bright for what it is, using just a pancake coil, no core in it. It's just wire. It's just because, like, when you lay these flat, it concentrates all the magnetic field in a flatter plane, so like you end up with like a build up of capacitance between the windings, which causes the voltage like to rise. But because like the voltage rises but you don't get a lot of current, when you've actually got the LED in the circuit, you'll get a very low voltage coming up. But that's because like suddenly you're drawing current from that coil, so when you draw current, voltage comes down. But it makes a lot more voltage to run that LED for hours and hours. I mean, if you're not using it constantly, you'll probably get like days or maybe weeks out of this. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to disconnect this for a minute, because I've been rattling on a bit. I can't remember if I showed you at the beginning of this video that this LED just won't work without this circuit. But I'm going to do another little test for you. I'm going to get another magnet, another battery, and snap that on there. But first of all, I'm going to take these two leads back out, plug them back onto this, and like as I've told you before, you won't get any light at all out of one of these batteries off of even one LED, let alone bloody 2, 3, 4, 8, whichever. And that light is not coming from the LED, it's coming from my phone and the light I've got next to me. But if I pull that off, you can see it don't change. Right, so I whop that back on now. There's no change in that LED at all. Like, that is completely dead. And like, if I actually connect these two batteries together, so now I've now got 3 volt. There should now hopefully be enough to light the LED on 3 volts, even though it won't be very bright. Actually, it's not even running them at all. This is on actually on 2 batteries. So they must be pretty dead batteries, like, in my opinion. Like, you're getting absolutely nothing out of these batteries whatsoever. Actually, no, I think what it is, I've got these connected back to front, or I might have. I'm just going to double check that. Right, so I've got, no, that's your positive side. Positive. Just going to double check I've got the LED the right way. Yeah, I've got the LED the right way around. So that LED's in now, and I'm getting absolutely sod all light whatsoever coming out of the LED. That means these batteries are so flat, they're not even raising that LED to light whatsoever. Even though I know I could light it up on 2 decent batteries, like 3 volts, like 2 1.5s in series. But I've now disconnected that. But what I'm going to do again, I'm going to put this all back together, this circuit, and bang that in there, like make it all back to normal. but this time I'm going to run it off of both of them batteries. So I've got all that connected back up again, got that connected in, that connected in. I mean, that's now running on 3 volt. That's, I mean, on the phone, I mean, you can't really see it on the camera phone too well, but that is actually lighting up my ceiling a little bit, which there's no point in me pointing the phone at the ceiling, because the phone would just cancel that out, because whatever way the software works like on this camera. But that's on one battery, and if I take that off and then put it on the other, the 1.5 volt side of it, I mean, that other battery is flat. That's this one here. So, like, I think it's because I've got a dead one of these batteries is dead, which is why I weren't getting anything out of it. But this has just proven that you can get, I mean, this is now run off 1.5 volt, just one on its own. I mean, it's pretty bright. It's like, you could probably imagine, like, without me rambling on and on about it, that you could connect this up, 3 volts worth of it. You could put a load of LEDs in parallel, which is what I have done before, and I've run 8 of them, as I said before, on a 1.5 volt battery, and it run for hours. It ran overnight, you know what I mean? Like, it run for like 13 hours before it went completely dead. It was sort of still dwindling, but it was still running. But yeah, that's for now, that's how these things work. Like, this was just to prove that you can use a flat pancake coil as well. Like, plus I wanted to show off my little build of this. All I've done here, I just super glued this together and just use one of them block things and little zip tie to keep it all in place properly so that it don't unwind. Yeah, this is actually believe it or not, the first Nikola Tesla pancake coil that I've actually built. I mean, the next one I want to get hold of a lot more wire. I mean, a nice big length of it, and I'm going to try winding it flatter, actually putting the, as I said, like the wires side by side like that rather than like that, and then roll them round that way to see what the effect is. Like, because if you read up about these pancake coils, they're not, the original ones were actually completely flat. They were bifilar but completely flat. So like your 2 wires were side by side rather than one on top of the other. What the whole idea is, though, you connect one of the centre ones to the opposite outer one, so you get a continual circuit going through it. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to leave a link in the description that will take you to how these put together, and you'll probably get other video suggestions up, like where you can learn more about these Tesla coils, like Tesla pancake coils. I mean, a complete Tesla coil involves one of these plus like a tall one coming out, which I haven't built one of those yet, but I probably will at some point. Yeah, that's I'm going to leave it there for now. Right, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like it, put a thumbs up. If you think it was completely and utter tripe, don't be afraid to say so, as long as you've got a constructive reason why. I mean, it may be you know a better way of doing it. I mean, I've been into electronics for blimmin' years, but I'm only a hobbyist, I'm not a professional. But yeah, give it a thumbs up if you like it, give it a thumbs down, or as I said, like in the description, in the comments, say well why or why not that you think it's an okay or not okay circuit, or if you've managed to build a nice big honking great coil about the size of your room, please do share. Right, that's it for now, and I'll put up another video in due course. Bye for now, keep safe, see you later.